evening, America. Good evening, New York. You are tuned to WKNY 1240 on your dial, and this is The Evening Call. I'm Ed Marlowe. It is 10 o'clock on the night of Friday, the 27th of November, 1942. Thanksgiving was yesterday. And I want you to hold on to that thought, because tonight's news is going to ask something of you. It's going to ask you to hold two things in your heart at once: the weight of what this war is, and the reasons we are grateful anyway. Tonight, the news from two continents is better than it has been in a long while. Not good. The war is not good, but better. And for men and women whose sons and husbands and fathers are overseas tonight, better is something. Better is worth saying out loud. Let's go to work. Let us begin where the fate of this war is being decided. And tonight, for the first time in a long time, we begin there with something that looks like progress. Russia first. 19 days ago, November the 19th, the Red Army launched what military men are now calling the most audacious encirclement operation since Canny. The name of the operation is not known to us, but the shape of it is. General Zhukov, the same man who stopped the Germans at the gates of Moscow a year ago, threw more than 1 million Soviet soldiers at the flanks of the German Sixth Army around Stalingrad. Not at the front of the German line, mind you. At the flanks, at the Romanian and Italian and Hungarian divisions, the Germans had stretched thin to guard their sides while Paulus's troops ground their way through the city block by block. Those flanks collapsed. Within 4 days, Soviet armored columns had swept around the German Sixth Army and linked up west of the city at a town called Kalach on the Don River. The encirclement was complete by November the 22nd. 200,000 to 300,000 Axis troops, the exact number is not yet confirmed, are now trapped inside what reporters on the ground are calling the Kessel, the cauldron. General Friedrich Paulus and his entire Sixth Army, which Hitler sent to take Stalingrad, are surrounded. And tonight, new reports confirm the Red Army is tightening the ring. Soviet forces have cut off additional German units outside the encirclement, captured a dozen towns in the Don Basin, and are pressing hard on the perimeter. The Germans are attempting to supply the trapped army by air. The Luftwaffe is flying in provisions, but the quantities they can deliver are a fraction of what 250,000 men need to survive a Russian winter. Hitler has ordered Paulus to hold in place. He has not authorized a breakout. Let that sink in. Now hear this. For the better part of a year, Stalingrad has been the symbol of everything that has gone wrong in this war. The Germans named the battle after the city. They said they would take it. They pushed Soviet forces to the banks of the Volga, to rubble and cellars, to street-by-street fighting that the world's newspapers could barely describe. And now, the army that was supposed to take Stalingrad cannot escape Stalingrad. If this holds, it will be the largest German defeat since the war began. The tide, gentlemen and ladies, may be turning on the Eastern Front. And in North Africa, our boys and the British are pushing hard in Tunisia. 10 days ago, the Allied First Army, commanded by British General Kenneth Anderson, launched what newspapers are calling the Run for Tunis. A combined British and American force has been racing east from Algeria, trying to reach Tunis before the Germans could dig in. Tonight's dispatches report that advance elements of that force, a mixed armored and infantry column, have reached positions approximately 15 miles west of Tunis. 15 miles. The Tunisian capital is within striking distance. At the same time, the Allies smashed an Axis strongpoint near the capital in heavy fighting. The battle for Tunisia is not over. The Germans have been rushing reinforcements across the narrow Strait of Sicily, and they are fighting hard. But we have them from two sides. Rommel's Africa Corps is retreating westward from Egypt and Libya, chased by Montgomery's 8th Army. Anderson's 1st Army is pushing from the west. The Axis in North Africa is caught between two fires. Months ago, it was the Allies who were being pushed back and forth across the desert. Tonight, it is the Germans who are running out of room. And now, something that's going to feel like a letter from home to every man and woman in uniform listening tonight. From Benny Crosland, the Holiday Crooner.
I'm longing for a frosty Christmas, just like the ones I knew so well, where the window panes glisten and loved ones listen for the sound of carols through the dell. I'm longing for a frosty Christmas, with every letter that I mail. May your heart be teety and your spirits tender, and may all your holidays be bright and pale. From the battles of the day, where the fires are glowing and peace is growing in the hearts of folks so far away, I'm longing for a frosty Christmas, with every letter that I mail. May your heart be cheerful and your spirits tender, and may all your holidays be bright and fair.
Now to Washington, and the news that is going to affect every man, woman, and child in this country starting next Tuesday. President Roosevelt has ordered full gasoline rationing to take effect nationwide on December the 1st, not just on the East Coast, where we've had rationing for months. Nationwide, coast to coast, the president has directed the Petroleum Coordinator, William Jeffers, and the Office of Price Administration under Leon Henderson to implement the program immediately. The reason is straightforward. This war runs on fuel, and the fuel this country uses on civilian roads is fuel that cannot go to Sherman tanks and B-17 and destroyers in the Pacific. The president is asking you, all of you, to drive less, plan your trips, and understand that the gasoline you do not use may be the gallon that gets a soldier where he needs to go. I know some of you have already been living with rationing here in New York. I know it is not easy. But let me be plain about this. Compared to what the men at Stalingrad are enduring tonight, huddled in their trenches while Soviet tanks close the ring, giving up some Sunday drives is not a sacrifice. It is a contribution. There is a difference. The president is also working on a broader plan to tie the nation's manpower directly to its war production output. The architecture of it is still being arranged in Washington. But the concept is this. Secretary of the Interior Harold Ickes is being asked to take on a role here at home similar to the role Ernest Bevin plays in Britain, coordinating the labor force to meet the demands of the war machine. We are, in some ways, still learning how to put this country on a complete war footing. We will learn. Here's a smooth, new romantic ballad that's just right for sweethearts tonight from Dwane Millson and his orchestra.
Take a little starlight from the window, stir it with the sound of someone's name. Add a measure of the summer you remember, and something slow that puts the heart to flame. Mix yourself a moonlight cocktail, sip it somewhere soft and dim. Let the evening do the talking. Let the whole world fade and swim. Mix yourself a moonlight cocktail, one for you and one for me, and we'll stay until the morning finds us where we ought to be. Take a little music from the radio, a candle and a corner out of sight. Add a whisper and a willingness to linger. That's the recipe for one more perfect night. Mix yourself a moonlight cocktail, sip it somewhere soft and dim. Let the evening do the talking. Let the whole world fade and swim. Mix yourself a moonlight cocktail, one for you and one for me. And we'll stay until the morning
horrific story that is generating considerable heat and which deserves a plain explanation. When Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of French North Africa, began 19 days ago, American commanders made a deal with Admiral Francois Darlan, the Vichy French commander who happened to be in Algiers visiting his son. The deal: Darlan orders his forces to stop shooting at our boys, and in exchange, Darlan gets authority over French North Africa. It was a military decision made under the pressure of battle, and as our correspondent Edward R. Murrow has put it bluntly on the air, it worked in the short term. The shooting stopped, the campaign advanced, but it has not sat well with a lot of people. Darlan is a Vichy man, a man who served the government that collaborated with the Nazis after France fell in 1940. And the man who has been fighting for France's honor since the day of that surrender, General Charles de Gaulle, who leads the Free French forces from London. De Gaulle was cut out of the arrangement entirely. He is furious. Tonight, word comes from London that de Gaulle is preparing a direct appeal to President Roosevelt, challenging the status of Darlan and the whole basis of the current arrangement in North Africa. This is complicated business, and I want to be honest with you about what I know and what I don't. What I know is this: the deal with Darlan got our troops into North Africa without a prolonged fight against French soldiers. That matters. What I also know is that de Gaulle represents something important: the France that refused to surrender, the France that kept fighting. Marginalizing that France in favor of Vichy officials is a choice with consequences, and those consequences are not fully visible yet. And on the practical side, the French forces in Morocco are being promised American aircraft and American pilots to reinforce the North African campaign. A senior American officer said tonight that he expects this contribution to be, quote, of great help. The French soldiers in Morocco want to fight. They want to fight the Germans who occupied their country. Getting them into the air with American planes is the right idea. The question of who leads French North Africa politically, that question is still being answered. Stay tuned. And if the night is asking for something a little more charged, Dwane Millson and his orchestra are right here with it.
That old familiar something hits me every time. The moment that you walk into the room, a certain pull I never could put into rhyme. The way you fill the air like summer bloom. I stumble when you look at me the way you do, and everything I plan flies out the door. There's something in the atmosphere around you too, the kind of thing that floorboards me each time I try to walk. That old sweet trouble you bring with you, spinning me around and pulling me right through. Down and down I go, round and round I spin, caught in the middle of something warm and thin. That old sweet trouble you bring. Every time I'm almost free, every time I almost see the way out clear, you come in and close the door, and I find I don't want out of here anymore. That old sweet trouble you bring with
items from farther afield tonight. Our Air Force, flying out of India, struck Bangkok yesterday, the capital of Thailand, which is under Japanese occupation and control. The target was an oil refinery. The round trip was 1,500 miles, and every mile of it was over Japanese-controlled or hostile airspace. The planes got there and got home. The refinery is gone. This is the first American bombing raid on Thailand, and it tells you something about the reach of this war and the determination of the men flying it. 1,500 miles from base, in darkness, in hostile skies, to hit a target that fuels the Japanese war machine. These men are extraordinary. And then there is the man called Kurusu. Saburo Kurusu was Japan's special envoy to Washington last year, sent in November of 1941, just days before the attack on Pearl Harbor, ostensibly to negotiate, while Japan was already planning to bomb us into the war. He is now speaking from Tokyo, blaming the United States for the war. He claims that Secretary of State Hull's diplomatic note of November 26, 1941, the note that insisted Japan withdraw from China and abandon its expansion, was, in his words, the fuse that ignited the war. I will say only this about Mr. Kurusu's accounting. The fleet that attacked Pearl Harbor was already at sea when he was sitting in Washington pretending to negotiate. The fuse, Mr. Kurusu, was in the hand of the man who ordered that fleet to sail. And that man was not in Washington. Now here's something a little lighter on its feet. A tune that'll put a smile on your face, whether you're stateside or anywhere else listening in. From Chet Kaiser and his college band.
I got a horse and a lonesome road, a sky so wide it don't have edges. I left behind a heavy load, a house up by the old stone ledges. And it's jingle, jingle, jingle as I ride across the range. Jingle, 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 nothing about it feels too strange. Jingle, 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 I'm a happy kind of fool, for a saddle and a sunset and the evening's coming cool. The girls in town wait from their doors, and I tip my hat and keep on riding. The open country settles scores that the cities keep on hiding. And it's jingle, jingle, jingle as I ride across the range. Jingle, 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 nothing about it feels too strange. Jingle, 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 I'm a happy kind of fool, for a saddle and a sunset and the evening's coming cool.
A few items closer to home, and then sports before we close out the evening. New York celebrated Thanksgiving yesterday under wartime conditions. And by all accounts, this city managed that with its characteristic combination of generosity and stubbornness. Soldiers and civilians alike sat as guests at holiday dinners across the 5 boroughs. Churches, settlement houses, community organizations, the city poured out its holiday table for anyone who needed a meal. The boys in uniform who ate Thanksgiving dinner in Times Square yesterday were a long way from wherever they call home. New York made sure they were not alone. There is also this. The city has new restrictions on heating oil deliveries. Following the ODT, The Office of Defense Transportation planned to reduce fuel consumption. Nassau County dealers are conforming to the program. It is the same logic as the gasoline rationing. The fuel that heats a civilian building is fuel that doesn't get to where the war needs it. We are all adjusting. And a peculiar story. 400 gallons of coffee went rolling down a New Jersey road last night when a delivery truck overturned. Remarkably. And the police deserve credit for this. Not a single bag of coffee beans was lost. Police stood guard over the cargo through the night. In a city where coffee is rationed and a good cup is one of the small comforts of wartime life, no beans were going to walk off that roadside. Good for them. And the city's strangest missing persons case of the week, a 700-pound bull elk crated up and heading from Bear Mountain to the Central Park Zoo, has simply vanished. The crate is sturdy. The animal is enormous. And somehow, along with 2 cows and a calf, the bull elk has disappeared between here and the park. Zoo officials are perplexed. New York keeps finding new ways to surprise us, and now, a song about someone beautiful and just a little bit out of reach, from Jay Dorset and his orchestra.
Valentina, they all say her name in wondering voices, and the men around her fall to nothing in her glow. She could have any heart she wanted from the choices, but she always keeps them wondering where she'll go. Valentina, she is the color of a sunset on the sea. Valentina, every room she walks through holds a mystery, and I watch her from the corner of the ballroom floor, knowing I would gladly follow, but she's gone before. Valentina. They say she laughs and all the others lean in closer. They say she smiles and every song sounds slow and sweet. I've been told that I should just avoid her, but I find myself returning every time we meet. Valentina, she is the color of a sunset on the sea. Valentina,
The football season is in its final weeks, and today brought several results worth noting, including one that may be the most one-sided game played by a Navy station team this war has produced. Great Lakes Naval Training Station demolished Northwestern 48-0. 48-0. The man doing most of the damage was Bruce Smith, not the offensive lineman you know from the pros, but a halfback who crossed the goal line 3 times and personally accounted for 23 points. Great Lakes is drawing from the best athletic talent the Navy can find, and today, that talent was on full display. The men of the Wildcats were outclassed at every position, and may take some comfort in knowing they were beaten by what amounts to a roster assembled from the finest players in America. Colgate defeated Brown 13-0 to extend their winning streak against the Bears to 11 straight years. The Red Raiders have made this rivalry their personal property. Brown played hard. Colgate simply played better, crossing the goal line twice in a game that was decided in the trenches. A holiday tradition continued at Randalls Island this afternoon, where Clinton and Commerce played to a 6-6 tie before 15,000 fans in their 39th annual meeting. 39 years, and today's game couldn't separate them. There is something comforting about that. Traditions holding even now. And St. John's beat Brooklyn Prep 12-0 in what the papers are calling an upset in their 25th meeting. The Redmen won a hard battle, and Brooklyn Prep will no doubt remember it. Well, for all the sweethearts back home wondering and waiting, the Harlow Sisters have a word or two for you.
Now listen, sweetheart, while you're far away from me, I want your heart to stay where it ought to be. I know the world is full of eyes and full of hands, but I'm the one who's waiting when you come back to your plans. Don't go dancing with the girls on every shore. Don't go promising your heart to anyone else more. Don't go sharing all the smiles that you've been saving just for me with nobody else till I see you, till I see you, till I see nobody, nobody, nobody else but me. Now I won't be checking up on everything you do, but I'll be sitting here and thinking only of you. So while you're out there making friends with all the town, remember someone's keeping face and holding your ground. Don't go dancing with the girls on every shore. Don't go promising your heart to anyone else more. Don't go sharing all the smiles that you've been saving just for me with nobody else till I see you, till I see you, till I see nobody, nobody, nobody else but me.
Tonight, the arts. Yesterday evening, at the Hollywood Theater on Broadway, a film opened that I believe you need to see. Its name is Casablanca. It stars Humphrey Bogart as Rick Blonine, an American expatriate running a nightclub in the Moroccan city of the same name, and Ingrid Bergman as the woman who broke his heart in Paris. and has now walked back into his life in that smoky, complicated room where refugees and spies and collaborators and resistance fighters all drink at the same bar. The timing of this picture's release is not accidental. Casablanca, the real Casablanca, is where our troops landed 19 days ago. The film was originally scheduled for early next year, but Warner Brothers moved it up to coincide with Operation Torch, and the name that has been on every American's lips ever since. And the result is a picture that speaks directly to this moment without ever becoming a piece of propaganda. It is a love story. It is a story about what a man owes to history when history is knocking down his door. Bogart plays it with exactly the kind of understated American cool that you want to believe is what we are made of. Bergman is heartbreaking. Claude Rains, as the French police prefect who is corrupt and charming in equal measure, is a study in how a man can be on the wrong side of history and still be entirely human. The scene in which the cafe erupts into La Marseillaise, the French national anthem, drowning out the German officers who had started singing their own songs. I will not spoil it for you, but I will say, if that scene doesn't make you feel something in your chest tonight, in November of 1942, with France occupied and North Africa in flames and de Gaulle in London fighting for the soul of his nation, then I don't know what will. Go see it. Take someone you love. At Carnegie Hall, conductor Artur Rodzinski led the New York Philharmonic in Shostakovich's First Symphony, a work the young Russian composer wrote in 1926, when he was barely 20 years old. There is something almost unbearably poignant about hearing Shostakovich in New York right now, while his countrymen are fighting for their lives at Stalingrad. The First Symphony is brilliant and austere and shot through with the particular tension of a young man who understood that the world was not going to be an easy place. He was right. On the stage, there are benefit performances this week for the Settlement Auxiliary, dinners before the show The Pirate, which is drawing good houses. Matinee business is strong across Broadway. The Theater Guild meets this weekend, and in a heartwarming piece of news, soldiers are putting on their own production of The Women at an Army post in the area, men in uniform playing women's roles. I imagine it is exactly as funny as it sounds, and I imagine the audience loves every minute of it. And to every man from Texas listening wherever you are tonight, Al Reynard and his orchestra are playing this one straight to you.
The stars at night are big and blazing deep in the heart of home. The prairie wind is cool and easy deep in the heart of home. Home, deep in the heart of home. Home, deep in the heart of home. Coyotes call at blue moon rising deep in the heart of home. The sage and cedar, sweet as always, deep in the heart of home. Home, deep in the heart of home. Home, deep in the heart of home. I'll be back when this is over, deep in the heart of home. There's a someone waiting on me, in the heart of home. Home, deep in the heart of home. Home, deep in the heart of home.
A few items to close tonight that don't fit anywhere else, but seem worth saying. The sailors of the United States Navy are apparently purchasing gardenias in bulk from Times Square florists. Sales of gardenias in the Times Square area have doubled in recent weeks, attributed by the flower sellers to what they call nautical gallantry, young men in uniform buying flowers for young women before they ship out or before the night ends. The war has made romantics of them. I find this entirely admirable and more than a little moving. A Canadian soldier stationed here in New York came to the FBI with a search he has been conducting for years, trying to find his father, who disappeared after the last war. The FBI helped. The father was found. Think about that. A son who went to war still looking for his father from the last one. The FBI, which was created to solve crimes, spent some of its time this week solving something more ordinary and more important, reuniting a family. Scientists at a major research institution have announced a development that will save lives on the battlefield. A new form of concentrated albumin, derived from blood plasma, can now be administered in the field to treat shock from wounds. The old treatment required whole blood, which is difficult to transport and keep. The new preparation can travel anywhere, be stored more easily, and get into a soldier's arm fast. Someone in a laboratory made a decision that will mean boys who would have died from shock will live instead. We don't often talk about what happens in the laboratories during a war. We should. Senator Carter Glass of Virginia, one of the Senate's elder statesmen and a man who does not mince words, has put it plainly. Buy victory bonds. His statement today, he say, anyone who does not back the Treasury in this hour is helping Hitler. The senator has a way with the direct statement. He is right. And finally, from the academic world, a scholar named Dr. Soltes, addressing a conference here in New York, made the observation that the destruction of European Jewish intellectual and cultural life by the Nazis has placed an extraordinary responsibility on the Jewish community here in America. The great centers of Jewish learning, Warsaw, Vilna, Berlin, Vienna, are gone or going. The institutions, the scholars, the students, the libraries, destroyed. What survives here in New York, in Chicago, in the universities and synagogues of this country. Dr. Soltes said that the United States has, in the most terrible of ways, become the center of a civilization that the Nazis are trying to erase. We would do well to understand what that means. And now, a song that says what a lot of us can't quite put to words tonight, from Bea Holliday.
I'll be finding you in every morning light, the way it falls along the kitchen door, in all the small familiar things. A park, a bench, a garden in the rain, a streetcar, a cafe, a song that winter brings, familiar as your name, as clear as pain. I'll be finding you. I'll be finding you in everything that stays, the old familiar corner of the block. I'll be counting all the simple autumn days and listening for your step beside the clock. I'll be finding you in all the small familiar things. A park, a bench, a garden in the rain, a streetcar, a cafe, a song that winter breeze, familiar as your name, as clear as pain. I'll be finding you.
And here's one that's been raising spirits from the docks to the barracks. Chet Kaiser and his college band with the song everybody's been asking for.
A gun crew up on the forward deck, every man at his station with the world a wreck. The chaplain put his book away and grabbed a hold of steel, said a prayer for the living with a prayer for what was real. Lift your voice and do what must be done. Lift your hands and stand beside everyone. The Lord above us wants us standing straight and free. So lift your voice and do what you must be. They'll write the story when the smoke is gone of the ones who kept on working and the ones who carried on. Every soul aboard knew what the moment meant. Say the word and mean it, every ounce of faith you've spent. Lift your voice and do what must be done. Lift your hands and stand beside everyone. The Lord above us wants us standing straight and free. So lift your voice and do what you must be. A gun crew up on the forward deck, every man at his station with the world a wreck. The chaplain put his book away and grabbed a hold of steel, said a prayer for the living with a prayer for what was real. Lift your voice and do what must be done. Lift your hands and stand beside everyone. The Lord above us wants us standing straight and free. So lift your voice and do what you must be. They'll write the story when the smoke is gone of the ones who kept on working and the ones who carried on. Every soul aboard knew what the moment meant. Say the word and mean it, every ounce of faith you've spent. Lift your voice and do what must be done. Lift your hands and stand beside everyone.
Yesterday was Thanksgiving, and tonight, the night after, I want to talk to you plainly about what that means this year, and what I think it ought to mean going forward. It is easy on a Friday night in November of 1942 to feel that gratitude is the wrong response to the world as it is. We are at war on every ocean and on several continents. We have lost tens of thousands of young Americans already. The casualty lists are not small, and they are not getting smaller. The rationing starts Tuesday. The news is full of names most of us couldn't find on a map 6 months ago. Stalingrad, Tunis, Guadalcanal, Rangoon. The world is burning in several places at once. And yet, let me tell you what I am grateful for tonight. I am grateful that the Red Army of the Soviet Union, the men in those frozen trenches east of the Don River, had the courage and the leadership to launch the counteroffensive that has put the German 6th Army in a trap. Those are not our men, but they are fighting our war, and they are paying for it in blood we cannot fully comprehend. I am grateful for them. I am grateful that we have soldiers and sailors and airmen who will fly 1,500 miles to bomb a refinery in Bangkok, who will go ashore in North Africa in the dark of November, who will hold a perimeter on a Pacific island that most Americans had never heard of a year ago. I am grateful for them. I am grateful that this country, when the moment demanded it, turned its factories and its farms and its laboratories toward a single purpose. The concentrated albumin that will save soldiers from shock was not developed by accident. It was developed by someone who understood what was at stake. The bonds that Senator Glass is asking you to buy are not abstractions. They are the difference between a half-built destroyer and a finished one. I am grateful for the sailors buying gardenias in Times Square. I am grateful for the FBI that helped a Canadian soldier find his father. I am grateful for the production of The Women that soldiers are putting on at an army post somewhere in this city, with men playing all the roles, making each other laugh in the middle of something that is not funny. I am grateful for Casablanca, a film about a man who thinks he has decided to stay out of history and discovers that history won't let him. That is the story of this country, really, isn't it? We thought we could stay out of it. History knocked down the door on December the 7th of last year. And here we are, yesterday, around your tables. And the tables were smaller this year because some chairs were empty. I hope you raised a glass to the people sitting with you and to the people who couldn't be there. If you didn't, it isn't too late to say it out loud tonight. The war doesn't pause for the holiday. Neither do we. I'm Ed Marlowe. This is the evening call on WKNY 1240 on your dial. God bless the men in uniform tonight. God bless this country. And to all of you at home, I hope your Thanksgiving yesterday was everything it could be. We carry it with us into the weeks ahead. We'll close tonight with a song that seems to travel on its own, a melody that soldiers on both sides have been humming in the dark. Here it is, from Lara Sanderman.
Underneath the lantern by the old stone gate, I used to wait for someone who could not come late. And in the quiet evening, the bell above would ring. The lantern still is burning, as if it's remembering. Still I see the lantern, still I hear your step. Still the gate is standing where we always underneath the lantern, when the sky turns gray, I think of all the evenings that we gave away. The ones who passed beneath it don't know what it holds, just the light above